Have you ever wondered what life was like before the great biblical flood? It's easy to dismiss the idea of an ancient world filled with mystery and advanced civilizations as mere myth. However, what if I told you that the moral corruption and chaos we see in our world today are not new phenomena? The story of humanity's descent into darkness before the flood serves as a chilling reminder of the consequences of our choices. In a time when giants walked the earth and knowledge was both a blessing and a curse, the seeds of destruction were sown, leading to a divine reset that still echoes through history. God observed the world he had created and saw that humanity had become deeply corrupted. The moral decay was widespread, affecting every aspect of life. Violence, dishonesty, and wickedness filled the hearts of people, and the earth was in a state of turmoil. This moral corruption was so profound that it grieved God to his core. In his infinite wisdom, God decided that a fresh start was necessary to cleanse the world of its evil. This decision to restart humanity was not taken lightly. God had created humans with the potential for goodness and righteousness, but they had chosen a path of destruction. The consequences of their choices were evident in the chaos surrounding them. The love and grace of God were still present, but his patience had limits. He sought a way to preserve what was good while eradicating the corruption that had taken root. Through this divine decision, God chose Noah, a righteous man, as the vessel for this new beginning. Noah stood out among the people for his unwavering faith and integrity. He became a beacon of hope in a world shrouded in darkness. God instructed Noah to build an ark, a symbol of salvation amidst impending judgment. This act of obedience was crucial for the survival of humanity and the creatures of the earth. The flood was both a judgment and a means of renewal. As the waters rose, they cleansed the earth of the pervasive evil that had taken hold. It was a moment of reckoning, but also a demonstration of God's mercy. By saving Noah and his family, God showed that there was still hope for humanity to reclaim its original purpose. This restart was not just about punishment, it was about restoration and the possibility of a fresh start for creation. Ultimately, God's decision to reboot humanity serves as a profound reminder of his grace and justice. While he desires a world filled with goodness, he is also willing to intervene when corruption threatens the very fabric of existence. This narrative speaks to the heart of the human experience, urging us to reflect on our choices and the impact they have on the world around us. God's love invites us to turn away from corruption and embrace a path of righteousness, ensuring a brighter future for generations to come. The Nephilim, enigmatic beings, contributed to the decay of civilization before the flood. The Nephilim, mysterious beings mentioned in the Bible, have captured the imagination of many. These enigmatic figures are described in Genesis as the offspring of the sons of God and the daughters of men. Their existence raises intriguing questions about the nature of humanity and the spiritual realm. It is believed that their presence contributed significantly to the moral decay that led to the flood, highlighting the delicate balance between good and evil in the world. The identity of the Nephilim has sparked numerous interpretations and debates. Some view them as giants, possessing extraordinary strength and power, while others consider them fallen angels who took on human form. Regardless of their origins, the impact of the Nephilim on society was profound. Their actions and influence contributed to a culture of violence, immorality, and corruption that permeated the earth. The rising chaos fueled God's grief, prompting the decision to cleanse the world. As the Nephilim roamed the earth, they represented a blend of the divine and the earthly, blurring the lines between humanity and the supernatural. Their presence often incited fear and awe among the people. This mixture of the sacred and the profane resulted in a society that strayed further from God's intended purpose for creation. The Nephilim became emblematic of a world that had lost its way, prioritizing power and dominance over righteousness. The stories surrounding the Nephilim remind us of the dangers of straying from divine principles. Their existence serves as a warning about the consequences of allowing corruption and wickedness to flourish. When the boundaries between good and evil become blurred, chaos ensues. This narrative encourages us to remain vigilant and rooted in our values, ensuring that we do not succumb to the same temptations that plagued the civilization before the flood. Despite their ominous legacy, the Nephilim also prompt deeper reflections on the nature of humanity. They remind us that, even in the face of darkness, the potential for redemption exists. Just as God chose Noah to preserve a remnant of righteousness, we too have the opportunity to choose a path that honors our Creator. The stories of the Nephilim challenge us to seek understanding and wisdom, navigating the complexities of life with a commitment to righteousness and integrity. It is suggested that an advanced civilization existed before the flood, with lost technology and forbidden knowledge. Before the flood, some scholars and theologians proposed that there existed an advanced civilization, possessing knowledge and technology that has been lost to time. This civilization is thought to have thrived with remarkable advancements in agriculture, architecture, and perhaps even sciences. However, as humanity fell into moral decay, the wisdom that once guided their progress was overshadowed by corruption and immorality. This hypothetical civilization raises fascinating questions about the potential capabilities of early humans. Could they have developed sophisticated tools, agricultural techniques, and perhaps even early forms of governance? The idea that they possessed knowledge that could have benefited future generations adds a layer of complexity to our understanding of history. Yet, as they strayed further from God's ways, this knowledge was either misused or lost entirely. The notion of forbidden knowledge also plays a significant role in this narrative. It suggests that certain truths about the universe and the divine may have been revealed to humanity but were disregarded in favor of self-serving pursuits. As individuals sought power and pleasure, the moral compass guiding their decisions disintegrated. This loss of direction not only led to the downfall of an advanced civilization but also paved the way for the impending judgment of the flood. Imagining a world where advanced technology coexisted with spiritual truths serves as a cautionary tale. It highlights the importance of grounding our knowledge in ethics and morality. Without a strong foundation of righteousness, even the greatest advancements can lead to destruction. This reflection challenges us to consider how we use our knowledge and talents today, ensuring they are aligned with a purpose that honors God. Ultimately, the story of this advanced civilization reminds us of the fragility of human achievement. While progress can lead to great benefits, it can also result in significant consequences if divorced from divine guidance. As we navigate the complexities of our modern world, we must strive to integrate wisdom and ethics into our pursuits, ensuring that our advancements serve a greater purpose. The lessons from this lost civilization beckon us to pursue knowledge that uplifts rather than degrades, fostering a society rooted in righteousness and truth. The Eden was a perfect place where Adam and Eve lived in harmony with nature and God. The Garden of Eden represents the epitome of paradise, a perfect creation where Adam and Eve lived in harmony with God and nature. This idyllic setting was filled with lush greenery, vibrant flowers, and an abundance of life. In this sacred space, humanity experienced a direct and intimate relationship with their Creator, walking with Him in the cool of the day. The beauty and tranquility of Eden exemplified God's original design for creation. In Eden, Adam and Eve enjoyed a life free from pain, suffering, and conflict. They were given the responsibility to care for the garden, tending to its beauty and cultivating its resources. This role allowed them to engage deeply with the earth, understanding the cycles of life and the interconnectedness of creation. Their stewardship was a reflection of God's love for His creation, inviting them to participate in His divine plan. The connection Adam and Eve shared with the animals was remarkable. They were able to communicate with the creatures of the garden, experiencing a profound unity with all living beings. This harmonious relationship illustrated the peace that existed in Eden, a stark contrast to the chaos that would later ensue. In this paradise, the boundaries between humanity and nature were blurred, revealing a world where love and care flourished. However, this perfect existence was contingent upon their obedience to God's command. The freedom they enjoyed included the responsibility to choose wisely. They were instructed not to eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, a divine guideline meant to protect their innocence and foster their relationship with God. This prohibition was not simply a restriction, it was an invitation to trust and obey, essential elements of their connection with their Creator. Eden serves as a poignant reminder of what was lost due to disobedience. The narrative encourages us to reflect on our relationship with God and the world around us. Just as Adam and Eve had the opportunity to choose, we too are faced with choices that shape our lives and our connection to creation. The story of Eden calls us to seek restoration and strive for harmony with both God and nature, embracing the divine purpose intended for our lives. Ultimately, the Garden of Eden stands as a symbol of hope and redemption. While humanity fell from grace, the longing for that perfect relationship with God and creation remains in our hearts. We are invited to seek restoration, to nurture our relationship with God, and to care for the world around us, reflecting the beauty of Eden in our lives today. Adam and Eve had a deep connection with creation, understood the language of animals, and took care of the garden. Adam and Eve's connection with creation was profound and beautiful. In the Garden of Eden, they experienced a unique relationship with nature, one that allowed them to understand the language of animals and the rhythms of the earth. This deep bond with creation exemplified God's original intent for humanity, to live in harmony with all living things. They were not just caretakers, they were part of a larger tapestry of life, woven together by God's design. In this perfect environment, Adam and Eve were entrusted with the responsibility of caring for the garden. They nurtured the plants, tended to the animals, and ensured that the ecosystem thrived. This stewardship was a reflection of their love for creation and their deep respect for God's handiwork. Their role in the garden was not burdensome, instead, it was a joyous expression of their creativity and a testament to the relationship they shared with their Creator. Understanding the language of animals signifies a remarkable level of intimacy between humanity and nature. Adam and Eve were able to communicate freely with the creatures of the garden, fostering a sense of unity and cooperation. This connection illustrates the ideal state of existence, where all beings coexist peacefully, reflecting God's glory through their lives. In this world, there was no fear or conflict, instead, there was mutual respect and understanding. The deep connection Adam and Eve had with creation serves as a model for us today. We are called to appreciate and care for the world around us, recognizing the intricate relationships that bind us to nature. Just as they understood the animals, we too can learn to listen to the voice of creation, understanding its needs and rhythms. By cultivating a sense of stewardship, we honor God's gift of life and contribute to the flourishing of all creation. However, this harmonious existence was contingent on their obedience to God's command. The fall from grace shattered this connection, introducing discord and separation from the Creator. Yet, the desire for that deep relationship with God and nature still resides within us. We are encouraged to seek restoration, to mend the brokenness that sin has introduced into our lives and the world around us. Ultimately, the narrative of Adam and Eve invites us to reflect on our connection to creation. As we engage with the world, let us remember the original intent for harmony and stewardship. We have the opportunity to foster relationships with nature, to listen and learn from it, and to care for it as Adam and Eve once did. In doing so, we honor the Creator and participate in the ongoing story of redemption that unfolds in our lives and the world. The prohibition against eating from the tree of knowledge was an attempt at free will and obedience to God. The prohibition against eating from the tree of knowledge of good and evil represents a pivotal moment in the narrative of humanity. This command was not merely a restriction but a profound invitation to exercise free will and choose obedience to God. In creating humanity with the capacity to make choices, God granted us the dignity of free will, allowing us to engage in a genuine relationship with Him. By placing the tree in the garden, God established a boundary that served to protect the intimacy of the relationship He desired with Adam and Eve. This boundary was an opportunity for them to demonstrate their trust and loyalty. It was a chance to affirm their love for God by choosing to obey His command. The tree became a symbol of the delicate balance between freedom and responsibility, highlighting the importance of choices in shaping our lives. The act of disobedience, prompted by temptation, ultimately led to the fall. When Eve was enticed by the serpent's lies, she and Adam chose to prioritize their desires over God's command. This decision not only resulted in dire consequences but also marked the beginning of a fractured relationship between humanity and God. Their choice reflected the struggle inherent in human nature. The desire for autonomy often clashes with the call to obedience. Despite the gravity of their sin, the story underscores God's desire for a relationship rooted in love rather than coercion. He did not create robots programmed to obey. Instead, He gifted humanity with the ability to choose. This choice is at the heart of our spiritual journey, inviting us to reflect on how we respond to God's commands in our lives. It challenges us to consider the importance of obedience in nurturing our relationship with the Creator. The prohibition serves as a reminder that true freedom is found in submission to God's will. While the allure of knowledge and autonomy is enticing, it can lead us down paths of destruction when divorced from divine guidance. The narrative invites us to seek wisdom and discernment, ensuring that our choices align with God's purpose for our lives. Ultimately, the story of the Tree of Knowledge teaches us valuable lessons about free will, obedience, and the nature of our relationship with God. It encourages us to embrace the boundaries set by our Creator, recognizing that they are not restrictions but rather invitations to a deeper connection. As we navigate our choices, may we strive to honor God through our decisions, reflecting His love and grace in a world often clouded by temptation and confusion. The fall occurred when Eve was tempted by the serpent, leading both to greet the forbidden fruit. The fall of humanity is a pivotal moment in the biblical narrative, marked by Eve's temptation by the serpent. This encounter illustrates the seductive nature of sin and the fragility of human obedience. The serpent, a cunning creature, sowed doubt in Eve's mind, challenging the truth of God's command. He twisted God's words, suggesting that eating from the tree would not lead to death but rather grant them wisdom and knowledge. Eve's decision to engage with the serpent highlights a crucial turning point. Instead of relying on God's truth, she allowed herself to be swayed by the allure of knowledge. This moment of temptation reveals the vulnerability of humanity, where curiosity and desire can lead to disobedience. When she saw that the fruit was good for food and desirable for gaining wisdom, she succumbed to the temptation, ultimately sharing the fruit with Adam. The act of eating the forbidden fruit was not merely a transgression of a command, it was a significant shift in their relationship with God. In that moment, Adam and Eve chose to prioritize their desires over their obedience, severing the intimate connection they had with their Creator. The consequences were immediate, their eyes were opened, and they realized their nakedness, experiencing shame for the first time. This awakening brought about a profound sense of loss and separation from God. The fall serves as a cautionary tale, illustrating the dangers of succumbing to temptation. It reminds us that sin often begins with a subtle challenge to God's truth. The serpent's deceptive words echo through history, urging us to question God's intentions and doubt His goodness. Just as Eve was lured into disobedience, we too face similar temptations in our lives. It's a constant struggle between the desire for autonomy and the call to obey. Yet, even in the midst of their disobedience, God's love and mercy remained present. Though Adam and Eve faced dire consequences, including expulsion from the garden, God did not abandon them. He promised a future redemption through the seed of the woman, offering hope in the face of despair. This promise signifies that while sin brought separation, God's grace provides a path for restoration. Ultimately, the story of the fall serves as a reminder of the importance of vigilance and discernment in our spiritual journey. It calls us to guard against the temptations that seek to lead us astray and to anchor ourselves in the truth of God's Word. As we navigate the complexities of life, may we remember the lessons learned from Adam and Eve's choices, striving to cultivate obedience and trust in our relationship with God. After eating the fruit, Adam and Eve felt shame, broke their relationship with God, and were expelled from Eden. After Adam and Eve consumed the forbidden fruit, their immediate reaction was one of shame and fear. This pivotal moment marked the breaking of their intimate relationship with God. For the first time, they became aware of their nakedness, feeling exposed and vulnerable. The innocent harmony they once enjoyed in the Garden of Eden was shattered, replaced by guilt and fear of divine judgment. The act of disobedience created a chasm between humanity and God. Adam and Eve attempted to hide from the Creator, retreating into the shadows of the garden, but there was no escaping the consequences of their choice. God, in His righteousness, confronted them, revealing the gravity of their actions. This confrontation was not merely about punishment, it was a moment of reckoning that brought to light the implications of their disobedience. As a result of their choice, Adam and Eve were expelled from Eden, a profound consequence that signified the loss of paradise. The garden, once a sanctuary of peace and harmony, became a distant memory. The world outside was harsh and unforgiving, filled with challenges and struggles they had never known. This transition marked a significant turning point in the human experience, where suffering and toil replaced the effortless existence they had in Eden. The introduction of shame and guilt had far-reaching effects on humanity. These emotions became part of the human condition, influencing relationships and self-perception. The once harmonious connection with God was now marred by sin, leading to a fractured relationship. The narrative reminds us that our choices have consequences, affecting not only our lives but also our relationship with God and others. Despite their expulsion, God's mercy was evident in His provision. He made garments for Adam and Eve, covering their shame with compassion. This act of care signified that while they faced the consequences of their sin, God still loved them. Moreover, He promised a future redemption, hinting at a plan to restore the broken relationship between humanity and Himself. The story of Adam and Eve's fall teaches us valuable lessons about the nature of sin and grace. It urges us to reflect on our own choices and the impact they have on our lives and relationships. While we may face the consequences of our actions, God's love and mercy are always present, offering hope and restoration. The narrative encourages us to seek reconciliation with our Creator, recognizing that no matter how far we stray, His grace is sufficient to bring us back into the fold. The consequences of sin include hard work, pain in childbirth, conflict, and the introduction of death. The consequences of Adam and Eve's sin reverberated through history, fundamentally altering the course of humanity. Upon their expulsion from Eden, God pronounced several consequences that would shape their lives and the world for generations to come. These consequences included labor, pain in childbirth, conflict, and the introduction of death, each one a stark reminder of the cost of disobedience. Work, which had once been a joyous endeavor in the garden, became a source of toil and struggle. Adam was tasked with tilling the ground, but now it would yield thorns and thistles, making his labor arduous and frustrating. This shift illustrates the reality that sin disrupts the natural order, turning what was meant to be fulfilling into a burden. Humanity would now have to navigate the complexities of survival in a world marred by sin. For Eve, the consequence of pain in childbirth represented the profound reality of suffering introduced by their choice. What should have been a joyous occasion was now accompanied by anguish, reflecting the deeper emotional and physical challenges that would arise from the fallen state of humanity. This consequence speaks to the struggles that women would face throughout history, emphasizing the impact of sin on relationships and the joys of motherhood. Conflict emerged as another significant consequence of their disobedience. The harmonious relationships that characterized life in Eden were replaced by strife and discord. Adam and Eve's children, Cain and Abel, would exemplify this reality when jealousy and anger culminated in the first murder. The story highlights how sin can distort relationships, leading to division and hostility among individuals and communities. Perhaps the most sobering consequence of their actions was the introduction of death. While humanity was initially created for eternal communion with God, sin brought about the reality of mortality. Death became a pervasive force, altering the human experience and introducing fear and uncertainty. This transformation marked a stark contrast to the original intent of life in fellowship with the Creator. Despite these consequences, God's mercy remained evident in His plan for redemption. While the consequences of sin were severe, they also served as a catalyst for God's ultimate purpose, to restore humanity to a right relationship with Him. The struggles and hardships that arose from sin would lead to a deeper understanding of grace and the need for salvation. Ultimately, the narrative of sin's consequences invites us to reflect on the impact of our choices in the world today. It serves as a reminder that while we may face struggles, God's mercy is always present, guiding us toward restoration and hope. As we navigate the challenges of life, may we seek to align our lives with God's will, recognizing that even in our brokenness, His grace is sufficient to sustain us. God showed mercy by making clothes of skin and promised future redemption through the woman's descendant. In the aftermath of Adam and Eve's sin, God's response was marked by profound mercy and grace. Despite their disobedience and the consequences they faced, God did not abandon His creation. Instead, He took the initiative to provide for their needs, showcasing His unwavering love and commitment to humanity. One of the first acts of mercy was the provision of garments made from animal skins. This act held significant meaning, as it symbolized both covering and sacrifice. The skins served to cover Adam and Eve's shame, representing God's desire to restore dignity to their fallen state. In a world now characterized by sin and vulnerability, this covering illustrated God's compassion amidst judgment. The act of making garments from animal skins also foreshadowed the greater sacrificial system that would unfold throughout biblical history. It served as a reminder that sin incurs a cost, and the shedding of blood is necessary for atonement. This theme of sacrifice would culminate in the ultimate act of redemption through Jesus Christ, the descendant of the woman, who would triumph over sin and death. God's promise of redemption through the seed of the woman is a profound declaration of hope. Despite the brokenness introduced by sin, God revealed His plan to restore humanity. This promise would echo throughout the ages, culminating in the coming of Christ, who would provide a way for reconciliation and renewal. The anticipation of this redemptive act infused the narrative with a sense of hope, even amidst despair. This moment in the Garden of Eden serves as a powerful reminder of God's character. He is a God who seeks restoration rather than destruction. His mercy extends beyond the consequences of sin, offering a pathway to healing and redemption. The narrative invites us to embrace the reality of our brokenness while also recognizing the hope found in God's promises. As we reflect on this story, we are encouraged to lean into God's mercy and grace in our own lives. No matter how far we may stray, His love remains steadfast, waiting to envelop us in forgiveness and restoration. The garments of skin remind us that while sin has consequences, God's desire is always to bring us back into communion with Him, showcasing the depth of His mercy through the promise of redemption. Outside of Eden, Adam and Eve faced a hostile world but kept their faith in God and taught their children about Him. After being expelled from the Garden of Eden, Adam and Eve entered a world that was starkly different from the paradise they once inhabited. The beauty and harmony of the garden gave way to a harsh and unforgiving environment. The challenges they faced outside of Eden tested their faith and resilience, yet they remained steadfast in their belief in God's goodness and love. In this new world, Adam and Eve encountered a myriad of difficulties. The landscape was filled with obstacles, from the unpredictability of the weather to the dangers posed by wild animals. They had to learn to cultivate the land, navigating the challenges of labor that had transformed their existence. Despite the hardships, they clung to their faith, trusting that God would provide for their needs and guide them through the struggles of life. A significant aspect of their journey outside the garden was their commitment to teaching their children about God. Adam and Eve recognized the importance of passing down their faith and understanding of the Creator to the next generation. They instilled in their children the values of obedience, love, and reverence for God. Through their teachings, they aimed to create a foundation of faith that would guide their family in a world fraught with challenges. This dedication to nurturing their children's spiritual growth highlights the importance of family and community in sustaining faith. Adam and Eve's experience reflects the reality that even in the midst of trials, we can find strength and purpose in our relationships with one another. By teaching their children about God, they created a legacy of faith that would endure through generations. Despite the hostile environment, Adam and Eve's faith in God remained a source of strength. They continued to seek His guidance and presence in their lives, drawing comfort from the promise of redemption that had been given to them. This hope served as an anchor amidst the uncertainties of life, reminding them that God's love and mercy were ever present, even in their struggles. Their story encourages us to reflect on our own faith journeys. In times of adversity, we too can find strength in our relationship with God and in the community of believers around us. Just as Adam and Eve taught their children about the Creator, we are called to pass on the values of faith and trust to those in our lives. By doing so, we can create a legacy that honors God and fosters hope in a world that often feels chaotic and challenging. Ultimately, the narrative of Adam and Eve outside of Eden reminds us of the resilience of faith in the face of adversity. It challenges us to remain steadfast in our beliefs and to nurture the spiritual growth of those around us. As we navigate our own journeys, may we seek to embody the values of love, obedience, and faithfulness that Adam and Eve exemplified, trusting that God is with us in every season of life. The post-Eden world was filled with challenges, such as unpredictable weather, dangerous animals, and the harshness of life. The world that Adam and Eve entered after their expulsion from Eden was filled with formidable challenges and uncertainties. Gone were the days of effortless existence in the garden. Now they faced a harsh reality characterized by unpredictable weather, dangerous wildlife, and the struggles of daily survival. This transition marked a significant shift in their lives, compelling them to adapt and find ways to navigate their new environment. The unpredictability of the climate posed a constant threat to their well-being. Without the protective haven of Eden, Adam and Eve encountered seasons of scarcity and abundance. They had to learn to read the signs of nature, understanding the cycles of growth and dormancy that governed their agricultural endeavors. This new reliance on the elements tested their resilience and ingenuity, pushing them to develop skills that were essential for survival. Additionally, the dangers presented by wild animals added another layer of complexity to their lives. In Eden, harmony existed between humanity and nature, but outside the garden, threats lurked around every corner. Adam and Eve had to learn to defend themselves and their family from predators, adapting to the harsh realities of a world where survival was no longer guaranteed. This necessity for vigilance fostered a sense of determination and resourcefulness, shaping their character and fortifying their bond as a family. Life outside of Eden was also characterized by hardship and toil. The labor that had once been a joyful expression of creativity became a grueling necessity for survival. Adam's work in the fields was now fraught with challenges, from battling weeds to enduring the heat of the sun. Eve faced her own struggles as she navigated the pain of childbirth and the responsibilities of motherhood. The stark contrast between their previous existence and their current reality served as a reminder of the consequences of their disobedience. Yet, amidst these challenges, Adam and Eve's faith remained a guiding light. They learned to rely on God's provision and to draw strength from their relationship with Him. Their experiences outside of Eden became opportunities for growth, deepening their understanding of grace and redemption. Through their trials, they discovered the resilience of the human spirit and the importance of faith in overcoming adversity. The narrative of life post-Eden invites us to reflect on our own challenges and the ways in which we respond to them. Like Adam and Eve, we often face uncertainties and hardships that test our faith. Yet, in these moments, we can choose to lean into our relationship with God, trusting that He will provide the strength and guidance we need. By embracing our struggles as opportunities for growth, we can cultivate resilience and hope, much like the first family did in their new reality. Ultimately, the world outside of Eden serves as a powerful reminder of the complexities of life and the importance of faith. As we navigate our own challenges, may we remember the lessons learned from Adam and Eve and strive to embody the resilience and trust in God that they exemplified. Cain and Abel, a sacrifice of faith and the seeds of conflict. Adam and Eve's journey continued with the birth of their two sons, Cain and Abel, who would offer sacrifices to God. Abel's offering was accepted, while Cain's was rejected, marking a pivotal moment in the narrative of humanity. This event highlights the importance of the heart behind our actions. Abel's sacrifice, made with sincerity and devotion, exemplified the faith that God desires. In contrast, Cain's offering, perhaps lacking the same spirit of faith, serves as a warning against complacency in our worship. The relationship between Cain and Abel reflects a broader human struggle. As they grew, the brothers' differing paths ultimately led to jealousy and resentment. When God favored Abel's offering, Cain's anger consumed him, leading to a tragic outcome, the first murder in human history. This act of violence underscores the profound impact of sin on relationships. Cain's actions not only severed the bond between brothers but also illustrated the destructive nature of envy and the depths to which humanity could fall when disconnected from God's guidance. Cain's choice to take Abel's life echoes through the ages, serving as a stark reminder of the consequences of unchecked sin. This moment in history emphasizes the need for accountability and the recognition of our moral responsibilities. Instead of seeking reconciliation, Cain allowed darkness to dictate his actions, and in doing so, he exemplified the devastating effects of sin. The narrative challenges us to confront our own emotions and to seek healthy resolutions rather than allowing anger and resentment to fester. In the aftermath of Abel's death, God confronted Cain, offering him a chance for repentance and a new direction. Instead of embracing this opportunity, Cain chose to flee and live in isolation. This decision led to a life marked by further separation from God and from the very essence of community that God intended for humanity. Cain's story serves as a cautionary tale, urging us to seek forgiveness and healing in our relationships before it's too late. The legacy of Enoch, walking with God. Following the tumultuous events of Cain and Abel, the lineage of Adam and Eve continued, leading to figures like Enoch. Enoch's story is remarkable, as he is described as someone who walked with God and did not experience death. His life serves as a powerful example of what it means to live in close relationship with the Creator. Enoch's dedication to God in a time of increasing wickedness highlights the possibility of maintaining faith and righteousness amidst a corrupt world. Enoch's unique relationship with God encourages us to reflect on our own walks of faith. It invites us to consider how we can cultivate a deeper connection with God in our daily lives. Walking with God involves intentionality, making choices that align with His will, seeking His guidance, and living in a way that reflects His love. Enoch's life reminds us that such a relationship is not only possible but also deeply rewarding. The impact of Enoch's faith extended beyond his own life. He became a beacon of hope for future generations. His commitment to God influenced his descendants, illustrating how our spiritual choices can affect those who come after us. In a time marked by moral decay, Enoch stands as a testament to the importance of living authentically in alignment with God's principles, encouraging others to do the same. Moreover, Enoch's example serves as a precursor to the ultimate hope found in Christ. His life foreshadows the promise of eternal life and communion with God, inviting us to anticipate the fulfillment of that promise in our own lives. Enoch's legacy urges us to aspire to a relationship with God that transcends the trials of our current existence, pointing us toward the hope of what is to come. Longevity before the flood, wisdom and advancement. The generations that followed Adam and Eve, particularly those before the flood, are characterized by remarkable longevity. Individuals like Methuselah, who lived for an astounding 969 years, not only experienced life in its fullness but also amassed significant knowledge and wisdom. This extended lifespan allowed for the passing down of experiences, traditions, and insights that shaped human understanding and innovation. Speculating on the factors contributing to such longevity, many suggest that environmental conditions, including higher oxygen levels, played a role. These conditions might have fostered not only physical health but also intellectual and spiritual advancements. The long lives of these early humans permitted the development of complex societies, agriculture, and crafts, leading to a rich tapestry of human culture and knowledge. The antediluvian world witnessed remarkable achievements, including the arts and music, which reflected humanity's desire to express itself and connect with the divine. The advancements in agricultural techniques highlight the ingenuity of early humans, as they cultivated the land to provide sustenance for their growing families and communities. This period was marked by a flourishing of creativity and productivity, serving as a testament to human potential when aligned with God's purpose. However, as the richness of human achievement grew, so did the corruption of the heart. Despite their advancements, many began to turn away from God, embracing violence, immorality, and selfishness. The contrast between human potential and moral decline serves as a powerful reminder of the dangers of losing sight of our Creator amidst success and progress. Moral corruption, a rapid decline. As the antediluvian era progressed, moral corruption spread like wildfire. Figures like Lamech epitomized this decline, glorifying violence and vengeance instead of fostering peace and community. Lamech's declaration, marked by pride and brutality, reflects the growing disregard for human life and the sanctity of relationships. His actions serve as a chilling reminder of how quickly humanity can spiral into chaos when guided by sinful desires. The moral decay of society before the flood challenges us to examine our own lives and communities. It invites us to consider how we can become agents of change, promoting values of love, compassion, and forgiveness. In a world where negativity and violence often dominate, we are called to counter these forces with the light of God's truth, fostering a culture of kindness and understanding. Additionally, Lamech's legacy serves as a cautionary tale, warning against the allure of vengeance and pride. It prompts us to reflect on our own responses to conflict and injustice, urging us to seek reconciliation rather than retaliation. In a time marked by moral ambiguity, we are challenged to uphold the values of integrity and righteousness, contributing to a society that honors God. Ultimately, the story of moral corruption before the flood reinforces the necessity of remaining vigilant in our pursuit of righteousness. As we navigate a world that often mirrors the challenges faced by our ancestors, we must remain anchored in our faith, striving to embody the love of Christ in all we do. The antediluvian world, a rich tapestry of life. In the world before the flood, we see a rich tapestry woven with the threads of creativity, advancement, and potential. The emergence of music, advanced agricultural techniques, and specialization in crafts reflects humanity's inherent desire to explore, create, and connect with one another. These developments not only enriched individual lives but also contributed to the fabric of society, fostering a sense of community and shared purpose. The advancements made during this time invite us to consider our own contributions to the world around us. We are encouraged to tap into our creativity and skills, using them to make a positive impact on our communities. Whether through the arts, technology, or acts of service, we can follow in the footsteps of our ancestors, striving to enrich the lives of those around us. However, as the achievements of the antediluvian world grew, so did the temptation to stray from God's design. The pursuit of knowledge and progress can easily lead to a sense of self-sufficiency, forgetting our dependence on God. This serves as a reminder that while we are called to innovate and create, we must also remain grounded in our relationship with the Creator who enables our efforts. As we reflect on the antediluvian era, we are invited to learn from both the achievements and failures of those who came before us. Their stories encourage us to embrace our potential while remaining humble and committed to God's purpose. In doing so, we can contribute to a world that honors God and fosters life-giving connections. The divine judgment, a new beginning with Noah. As the moral corruption of humanity reached its peak, God observed the depravity that had taken root. In response, he decided to send the flood as a means of divine judgment, wiping the slate clean to make way for a new beginning. This decision, though harsh, reflected God's righteousness and his desire to restore his creation. The flood serves as a sobering reminder of the consequences of sin and the seriousness with which God regards human choices. Yet, amid judgment, God provided hope. He preserved Noah and his family as symbols of faithfulness and new beginnings. Noah's obedience in building the ark demonstrated unwavering trust in God's plan, even when faced with ridicule and disbelief from those around him. His faithfulness stands as a testament to the power of obedience in the face of overwhelming challenges. Noah's story invites us to reflect on our own responses to God's call. In a world that often seems resistant to divine truth, we are encouraged to remain steadfast in our faith, trusting that God's plans will ultimately prevail. The ark, a vessel of salvation, symbolizes the refuge we find in God when we align our lives with His will. As the floodwaters receded and Noah stepped onto dry land, a new chapter in human history began. This moment of rebirth emphasizes the themes of redemption and hope, reminding us that God's desire is always to restore rather than to condemn. In every new beginning, there is the potential for growth, healing, and renewed relationship with God. Ultimately, the story of Noah and the flood serves as a call to reflect on our own lives. Are we, like Noah, willing to trust God and take steps of faith, even when the world around us seems to reject His message? In embracing the lessons of the past, we can forge a path of faith that leads to a brighter future, grounded in the love and purpose of our Creator. As we reflect on the lessons of a world lost to the Great Flood, it becomes clear that the choices we make today echo through time, shaping not just our lives but the future of humanity. Are we repeating the same mistakes that led to moral decay in that ancient civilization? What steps can you take right now to cultivate a life of integrity, compassion, and connection to the divine? The power to change lies within you, and the knowledge gained from the past can be your guide. Now, it's time to put this wisdom into action. How will you ensure that your choices align with the values you hold dear? What legacy do you want to leave for the next generation? I challenge you to take a moment and reflect on these questions. If you found value in this exploration of our shared history, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and activate notifications, so you can continue uncovering the truths that shape our existence. Together, let's embark on this journey of growth and understanding. Your transformation starts today.